Now that the Canadian truckers' protest has drawn to a close, American truckers are planning to keep it going. Several U.S. convoys are scheduled to go to D.C. ahead of President Biden's State of the Union address. NTD's Jason Perry is in Southern California, where the People's Convoy kicked off today.
A lot of people have asked why we're doing this, what's your reason behind it? And people want like a defined, clear answer. They think it's one issue, one thing, but the truth is,
freedom!
It's about my children. It's about my future grandchildren. It's about our families. It's about our country. People can try to paint this any way they want. They're going to say this is a far right or far left, or this is a partisan issue. But it's not. It's an American issue.
I'd like you all to be peaceful, and I know you're already peaceful, but also if you see any trash or anything laying on these grounds, the boys up here in Adelanto opened the stadium to us on no notice. Let's leave this place cleaner than we found it. I'm relying on all of you to do it.
After everyone finished speaking on stage, we walked around and talked to some of the people here and see why they wanted to support the truckers.
As an American, just supporting our rights and, just supporting the men and women that are out there just standing up and doing the things that I necessarily can't do. So this is my best way to support them.
I'm sort of tired of the government feeling they know what's best for me. And if we do not stand up to it, it's a slippery slope. It becomes everything. Everyone in my family was born in Canada except me. I have 100 years of Canada in my blood. And what Canada's doing is disgusting. And I hope Trudeau gets kicked out soon.
And I think we're starting to see the awakening around the whole entire globe of what these vaccine mandates, whether if you agree with them or not, people shouldn't be coerced or forced to do something that they don't want to. And they have the right to do that. We're seeing what's happening in Canada. And things can get serious and ugly very quickly. And we don't want that to happen. We know we're going to remain peaceful and calm. And yeah, we just send out our prayers to them, most importantly, to them and their families. And when they get to D.C., may everything just go smoothly. And may this wake up more and more people along the way.
We also found one trucker here who is not going on the convoy. He was just off today. He shared with us what it feels like to be a trucker and the unity that they have.
So you bring a bunch of people together in a positive, supportive way, that love and support, and here's what happens. And this is the outcome of it. And it's going to continue to keep going until we get what we're supposed to have, which is our rights. You'd be surprised, it's not just the truckers out there, it's almost every organization. Anytime you put that uniform on and you go out there and you do what's expected, it builds that trust, that loyalty, and becomes a band of brothers, and so I'm just glad to be able to share that so other people will see what this is all about and what that band of brothers does, and it's just in the long run, it just, you're able to show strength, unity, and love and honor and respect.
Now that the rally is over, everyone is lined up in a convoy on their way to Arizona. The trucks are going to be in the front of the convoy, followed by RVs and trailers, and then behind them will be four-wheelers, is what they call regular cars. And as you can see, they're all heading that way now. Next stop is Arizona. Jason Perry, NTD News, California.
A mother was at a McDonald's drive-thru with her two young sons when a lady started yelling and throwing objects at their car, accusing them of cutting in line. The vehicular attack that followed was all caught on camera. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
In Richmond, California, a road rage incident was caught on camera, showing a woman assaulting a mother who was in her car with her two young children at a McDonald's drive-thru. The mother started recording the incident on her phone as soon as things started to escalate.
It got to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. She was really aggressive and she was screaming and yelling at me, and I felt in danger. I really felt like I had nowhere to go or how to get out of there.
The victim, who requested to go by only Amaru out of safety concerns, says the drive-thru has two lines that eventually merge into one, and the suspect was accusing her of cutting. However, Amaru says she was just following the flow of the cars.
I wasn't cutting. The lines were merging into one.
In the video, the suspect can be seen yelling and hurling objects before getting back into her car, and then proceeding to ram into Amaro's car. At that point, Amaro stopped recording and got out of her car to get the suspect's information. She says that's when things got worse and the suspect drove into her.
Oh my gosh. Because my hands were up in the air, like stop, I was able to grab the hood of her car, and she took off with me. My boys saw everything my boys saw when the car took me.
The Richmond police say Amaro was dragged 150 feet across the parking lot. Then the suspect got out of the car, punching Amaro several times before driving off. Amaro says the suspect is not the owner of the vehicle that she was in, and the person who is not cooperating with the authorities. The suspect is seen wearing scrubs in the video, so it's possible that she works at a nearby hospital. The Richmond police are asking people to contact them if they do recognize the woman. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
The Huntington Beach Police Department held a memorial for the late Officer Nicholas Vila. Officer Vila lost his life in a helicopter crash on Saturday in Newport Beach. Hundreds of flower arrangements covered a police vehicle parked outside the Huntington Beach Police Department on February 22nd. The police department held a ceremony to honor fallen police officer Nicholas Vila. Law enforcement agencies, city officials, and residents came out to pay their respects. Huntington Beach Police Chief Eric Parra said Vila was truly dedicated to his job. Officer Vila was 44 years old and was a 14-year veteran of the Huntington Beach Police Department. He died from the injuries he suffered when the helicopter crashed into Newport Bay with a second officer who survived. He is survived by a wife and daughter. A new bill is being introduced to combat alleged COVID-19 and vaccine misinformation. Medical professionals are vowing to fight an assembly bill that would threaten their medical license for not adhering to the mainstream COVID-19 narrative. They say it is both unconstitutional and illegal. Assemblyman Evan Lowe, representing Campbell, introduced Assembly Bill 2098 on February 15th to target alleged misinformation about COVID-19, also known as the CCP virus. If passed, the Medical Board of California would be able to carry out disciplinary actions against its definition of misinformation. In the proposed bill, misinformation refers to spreading information contrary to the Food and Drug Administration's definition of safe vaccines. Dr. Jeff Bark, a physician in Newport Beach, was one of the few medical professionals to openly challenge the science behind mask and jab mandates. He said, "Science is not about consensus, it's not about agreement, it's about sharing and debating ideas." He added that during the pandemic, sharing and debating has not been allowed. Though he opposes jab mandates, especially for kids, he says he is not opposed to vaccines. Mark McDonald, a private practice psychiatrist in Los Angeles, is unconcerned with the bill. That's because, McDonald says, if they want to challenge me, then I'll take them to court. He too has spoken against mandates, and most of his comments on social media have been flagged as misinformation. McDonald encouraged doctors to stand up for what's right, fight for what's important, and not self-censor in fear. The Department of Justice recently charged a female accountant with defrauding $1.7 million. According to the indictment, she allegedly wrote unauthorized checks to herself. We hear more from NTD's David Lamb.
A former accountant for 2 car dealerships in Marin County has been charged with 4 counts of wire fraud, and this is according to the FBI and Department of Justice on Tuesday. According to a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the defendant is a 54-year-old Christina Marcus. She was the bookkeeper for the dealerships from 2010 to 2018. Now, an indictment says that starting in 2014, Marcus allegedly wrote unauthorized checks to herself. She also wrote unauthorized bonuses and vacation pay. Now, she was using the company's software, and she allegedly was able to delete records and cover her trail. It's believed that she embezzled over $1.7 million by transferring funds from the company's bank accounts into her own personal accounts. The defendant Marcus made her first appearance on Tuesday at the San Francisco Federal Court. Now, the maximum penalty for this type of violation is up to 20 years in prison including fines and restitution payment for all the losses incurred. The defendant's next scheduled court appearance is on April 20th. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
A Los Angeles County union for lawyers almost voted unanimously to recall their district attorney. The vote comes amidst backlash over his soft approach to prosecuting criminals. Members of Los Angeles County's Association of Deputy District Attorneys, or ADDA, overwhelmingly voted in support of recalling District Attorney George Gascon. Almost 98% of the frontline prosecutors tasked with implementing Gascon's policies want to see him removed from office, according to a Tuesday statement from the association. ADDA President Michelle Hannessy said, "This vote is by those who are intimately familiar with how Mr. Gascon's policies actually play out on a day-to-day basis." She hopes that Angelenos will support the recall to restore public safety as the priority to the office. The group said Gascon has never spoken directly to deputies about his policies. The near-unanimous vote comes with recent headlines about Gascon trying a transgender child molester as a minor. Fox News published recordings of the biological male, now named Hannah Tubbs, speaking about how he anticipated lenient punishment. ADDA Vice President Eric Siddall said Gascon has been directing resources away from enforcing the law while simultaneously ignoring large portions of the penal code. ADDA, a collective bargaining group for over 800 deputy district attorneys in LA County, saw its largest voter turnout ever for the recent vote. 30 cities in the county have issued votes of no confidence in Gascon. Disney announced on Tuesday that Disneyland and Disney California Adventure are welcoming back their nighttime spectacular shows this spring. There will also be a new finale for the Main Street Electrical Parade.
Disney fans should be on the lookout for the Main Street Electrical Parade, Fantasmic, World of Color, and Disneyland Forever fireworks shows coming to the theme parks on April 22nd. For the 50th anniversary of the Main Street Electrical Parade, there will be an all-new float at the grand finale that celebrates the theme of togetherness. The inspiration comes from the original design of the parade floats and the iconic art style on It's a Small World. The 7-segment float stretches 118 feet and brings to life more than a dozen Walt Disney Animation Studios and Pixar Animation Studios films. Guests will be able to see floats like Encanto, Raya and the Last Dragon, Aladdin, The Princess and the Frog, and more. Fantasmic will be back to celebrate its 30th anniversary on May 28th. The musical and animated show that lights up on the waters of the rivers of America displays clips and images from movies such as Fantasia, The Jungle Book, and Pirates of the Caribbean. World of Color will return full-time to California Adventure along with its music, fog, and fire effects. The nighttime show displays beloved Disney and Pixar images accompanied by a water show. While the Disneyland Forever fireworks show is returning in April, it will only run from Friday through Sunday until returning nightly in the summer.